All right, so let's start now. Prelim listening complete, prelim oral exam. Okay, good. Anyway, I saw some of you also going into the 88 tuition portal and trying out the MCQ, right? Ange, I think you're one of them. Okay, you did quite a number of MCQ questions. That's good. All right, so the rest of you, if you are not, you may want to do that also. The more you practice, the better you become, and you're on your way to scoring full marks. Where? Later I can show you, Heidi. All right, Ian is here. Let me quickly mark the attendance. Okay. Okay, so for this question, I was looking at your answers. Yep. Not all of you did this, but I also can understand. Okay, but a lot of you already put in your answer here. Now, aim of experiment should not be a difficult thing for you. Aim of experiment always tested in your PSLE. So you must know how to write the aim. To write the aim, you must know what are the variables that you are measuring, isn't it? Correct? So what is this person trying to find out? Okay, he actually carried out 3 activities for 30 minutes. And after that, he measured the number of breaths he took in 1 minute and recorded the results. Okay, what was the aim of his experiment? Okay, so if I look at your answers, okay, we know the aim of experiment is to find out how the different activities actually affect his breathing rate. Or you can say, rather than breathing rate, right, you can say the number of breaths taken in per minute. So, Yashika, aim of his experiment is to find out the type of activity he does affects his breathing rate. Okay, good. This is acceptable. All right, different activities. Charmaine has an interesting answer to find out which activity requires the most number of breath. Most number of breath. Okay, I think because of the lack of information. All right, yes, it's possible. This could be a possible aim for the experiment. Okay, notice I'm not highlighting yet because I don't want to go to each one and highlight. I will just one shot highlight everything. To find out, Galen says, to find out the breaths he took in 1 minute after each activity. To find out the breaths, okay, Galen, one thing you need to take note of is he is not just finding out the breaths, he's finding out the number of breath, okay? So this part here already something is not right. So Galen is trying to, this guy is trying to find out the number of breaths he took in, okay, 1 minute. In that 1 minute, after the activity, it's not 1 minute after. It's more like immediately after the activity, he measured the number of breaths he took in for 1 minute. Okay? So the way you're answering two areas are not so right. You didn't talk about number of breaths, and then you said 1 minute after each activity. That part. Okay, language. You need to change that. Okay, to find out if the different kinds of activities affects the number. Yes. Okay. Difference in the breathing rate. Yeah. Possible. This is a possible aim. Good. Let's try and find out. Yes, Crystal. Nabil, you didn't write the aim. You must try, don't lose marks this way. Try to write down the aim, how the number of breaths changes as the activity changes. How the number of breaths changes as the activity changes. Possible? Okay, to find out if a more strenuous activity requires a faster breathing rate to be carried out, if the activity needs more breath to be carried out. Okay, yeah, but it's okay. They're not really marking for language, right, Sean? Okay, unless your spelling error leads to another meaning, then it's an issue. To see if the number, okay, sorry, to see how the different types of activities affect the amount of breaths taken in 1 minute. Okay, good. To find out if the activity, to find out if the activity, but here there are many activities, all right? Yeah, you compare Tong Yi. Tong Yi, you look at your answer, you compare to Yancy answer to find out if the intensity of the activity affects the number of breaths taken in 1 minute. Sounds better. Yours, to find out if the activity, okay, when Yancy writes down if the intensity of the activity, already we know the activity has different intensity. But the one you're writing down, Tong Yi, to find out if the activity affects, you're kind of like pointing to just one activity only. You agree with what I'm saying? All right, be very careful because the moment I read it, okay, the immediate understanding is just one activity. Okay, Yancy says if the intensity of the activity suggests different intensity already. All right. Okay, so the way you all write the answer will affect the marks, given. Okay, so Yancy, yours is good. Battle, the aim of Lee's experiment was like to investigate relationship, between different activities and their impact on the breathing rate. Okay, yes. Very long. Battle, you must be very sure you have enough time to write this much for all your answers in the PSLE exam. To find out if, yeah, this one, same thing. You say to find out if the activity affects. You're just talking about one, Okay. He actually carried out 3 activities. All right. Hakim. Okay. So unless you're saying if different activities affect the number of breaths taken in 1 minute, yeah, you also need to talk about 1 minute because it's the breathing rate. Okay, let me see. I think I want to go back to see if anything needs to be taken note of. I just want to be very sure. Yeah, okay, correct. So after Hakim, okay, that's it. So yeah, Hakim, you need to rewrite this. Okay, talk about breaths taken in per minute. Okay, talk about different activities, or you can talk about intensity of activities. But since he took part in 3 activities, just write down the 3. Can? Keith is here. All right, let's see. Okay. If I go to 1B now, oh, Yashika, you didn't do 1B because of the typo error. Am I right? Okay, the question was actually this. Did you do it very early? If you did this earlier, Yashika, you wouldn't know that there was actually a change made. Okay, explain why Lee's breathing rate increased. Okay, the original one, first part into the portal was explain why Lee's breathing rate is measured, correct? Yeah. So it's being changed already to increase. So if let's say the question is this, those of you who actually, so early, right? Where were we? I was actually explaining something, right? Just a minute. Let me open that. Okay. All right. So I was talking about this. I think I was mentioning last week's question. Last week's question was actually on the heart rate when the person was exercising. So this week, okay, it is about breathing rate. So how are you going to answer questions like this? Now, when we talk about the heart rate, remember I told you you need to mention not just oxygen that needs to be transferred, right? Okay, you also need to mention digested food. It's okay, Prita. Yeah. I also got kicked out for a while. Okay. Yeah. Glad that you're here. Okay. So if it's just about breathing rate, do you need to talk about digested food? No, not at all. Okay. So don't have to talk about digested food. Hold on. Let me just come back to your answers. Okay. Give me a minute. Okay, I think 88 Tuition is calling me. I asked them for help. Okay. This is the first time it happened to me. Okay. How is it like without a teacher in class just now? Were you all noisy? No, right? Yancy, everything okay? Okay, great. Now, so when you explain this part for 1B, why is it that the breathing rate increase when the activity gets more intense? Okay, Yashika, I think you should be able to answer this now. Cassandra, you talk about energy is somehow related, correct? But, okay, you will need to be talking about oxygen, how oxygen is related, okay, to get more energy. If you look at some of their answer, okay, just now I glanced through before the tutorial. When the activity gets more intense, you look at Heidi's one. When the activity gets more intense, Lee's body needs more energy, right? So he breathes faster. He breathes faster to take in more oxygen. Okay. Why is that so? Because with the oxygen and, the digested food, okay, respiration can take place, right? And this will allow more energy to be released at a faster rate. So he needs to breathe in more. But at the same time, what does he need to do? When you're exercising, okay, you take in a lot of oxygen. Yes, you go through respiration. Yeah. Oh, okay. I saw that just now. Thank you so much. Yeah. So another thing you need to mention will be the release of the carbon dioxide. With respiration, more carbon dioxide will be produced, right? Correct? So the carbon dioxide needs to be released from the body. Okay, so breathing, you need to mention oxygen needs to come in. Okay, and then carbon dioxide needs to go out, but it's not as simple as that. I know the portal's answer only talk about in order to take in more oxygen and to release the carbon dioxide, but that will not be sufficient. Okay, talk about what Heidi mentioned over here. Okay, I think Heidi's answer is the one that impressed me a lot. Okay, I didn't continue reading further. I only read up to Heidi's one. So those of you above, write it on your own. I think Yashika, you're writing on your own now. Good. Okay, Cassandra, you need to edit. You are actually not wrong, but you are not giving me a complete answer. Ken, Charmaine, yours is, it needs more oxygen. Very good, but oxygen is needed for something. Write down that something. Okay. And then Gallen's one, the parts of his body use more energy and need more energy to function. Hence, the lungs need to take in more oxygen for the heart to pump. Okay. Yeah. Gallen, okay, you talk about the oxygen needs to be taken in, for the heart to pump, blood reach in oxygen faster to other parts of the body to produce energy. Okay, it's not just the oxygen needed only. Digested food is also needed. If you want to talk about produce energy, okay, then you need to mention a little bit about digested food. You read how Heidi wrote it. Who just came in? Let me take a look. Oh, okay, co-host. Yeah, I think good. I call for help and then they try to call me. I refuse to answer the call because I'm teaching